Morning, guys. So it's another early start. Not as early as yesterday, thank goodness.
Yeah, not as early as yesterday at least.
But we're still quite wrecked. We didn't get to bed till 3:30 like yesterday. And then we're up at 8, so we're pretty tired. Anyway, we're going to wake ourselves up going to a distillery that was founded in 1833. And it's called Glengoyne Distillery. And it's supposed to be one of the most pretty in Scotland, I think. Tell you something, it's going to put hairs on our chest.
I don't need any more hairs on my chest, thank you. If that's the case, I'm going to go and...
Oh, stow it, worm. Gonna have a wee dram, bit of Scottish whiskey, you know, and then go into the distillery. So we'll see you guys in a little bit. So I didn't know how whiskey was made, so I thought I'd go into a little bit with you guys. So basically, at the beginning of the stages of making whiskey, it's very, very similar to making beer. So whiskey is made from barley, for those of you that don't know. And Glengoyne actually only ever air dry their barley, which is quite unique. So we start off with malting, and they use the best quality barley and steep it in water and then spread it on a malting floor. The water is added in 3 stages and gets hotter at each stage. Their barley slowly germinates on the malting floor before being air dried, rather than being dried using peat smoke. Number 2 is the mashing. The dried malt is ground to a coarse flour or grist, which looks a little bit like porridge. Maybe not quite as tasty as the porridge. The water that they use is local to the area. They actually pipe it right through the hillside. The next stage is fermentation, where everything is placed in a large tub and fermented with the addition of yeast. This process turns the sugar contained in this goo to alcohol. This liquid is called wash. Then there's the distillation stage, where the wash is distilled twice. First in the wash still to separate the alcohol from the water. At this point you end up with a wash beer. Wouldn't be very nice to drink, but it is a type of beer. Then we go into the low wine stage, and then last but not least we go for the kind of whiskey, but a more of a moonshine version of the whiskey. Now, I didn't know this, but whiskey is actually clear. The only thing that adds the colour to the whiskey is the barrels. And a lot of the time they did that because clear spirit was heavily taxed. So colouring the spirit made it less likely to be taxed. The oak casks that the whiskey is put into is what actually changes the colour. So after the 1 year of being in one of the oak barrels, it's a kind of a pale yellow, and it gets darker and darker as the process goes on. So when they're dropping down the whiskey, they're dropping it down to 63% volume. After the distillation process, it goes to the spirit safe, where somebody called a still man uses his experience to test and judge the various distillates without being able to have any physical contact with the spirit by just using their nose. Now we've come to the best part of the tour. The tasting. Hold onto your pants and your undergarments, here we go. So you've got to hold it to your chest like this and slowly lift it up. You can kind of smell it and get kind of a taste from before it goes in your mouth. Get like a nice oaky taste, nice oaky smell. Here we go. The 10-year-old whiskey, so gorgeous. It's absolutely delicious. It's light, mildly oaky. It's kind of almost got a honeyish taste. I love it.
Oh, it's magical. It's so smooth. Oaky, really, really light, as Kate said. So mild and sweet.
They used to use water from this, but the demand got so great that they actually pump it through from up in the mountains, comes right through here, and then goes back out the other end afterwards, and it doesn't change the water, so they use it and put it back into nature, so it kind of goes in a big loop, which is really good. Now we're going to go for the 18-year-old Glengoyne. This has been voted the best whiskey 2019, and it got 2 gold stars, so it means all the judges unanimously thought it's the best whiskey. That definitely smells sweeter, or much more gentle. You can still smell the oakiness, but it's a gentler smell. Oh, I'm excited to try this one. 18-year-old. Completely different taste. Really, really sweet. This is made in cherry casks.
Oh wow, that's delicious. Oh, it's so much more oaky. It's really rich. The flavour is, and so sweet. I've never tried a whiskey like it before. It's delicious.
This is the original storehouse. It's amazing in here. I want the whole shop.